Good evening and welcome, everybody. My name is Debbie Lee. I am with the Viridian corporate team, and I have a wonderful pleasure of taking you around to some new travel information. I know all of you are excited to get on. I know you've been getting some questions about how to do quotes, how to get correct information when you're quoting something for a client, and so that's what I'm going to be going over with you guys today. I'm definitely excited to be here. And we'll go ahead and get started with I think it's our third night here of Travel Light Delight, of our Travel Light Delight. So we are definitely going to go ahead and dive into some really great information for you. We're here signed into the Travel Light portal. I'll mention, just as we did on last night's webinar, that if you've been trying to access this portal from a mobile platform, you're probably not having a whole lot of success, although you might be able to get into the platform by going to login.travellight.com. You're probably not going to be able to kind of access all the kind of information. So if you're going to be quoting out something for a client, make sure you've got either your laptop or your computer handy so that you can make sure to get accurate and complete information for them, and it'll just be a more professional experience for everybody involved. So let me just go ahead and dive in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some quotes, and I'm going to go through three main steps that you can kind of just keep in the back of your mind every single time that you're thinking about doing a quote for somebody. Those three steps are pretty simple. I'm actually going to just go ahead and pull them up. I have a little memo pad up here for you to take a quick look at, and these are the three tips for getting accurate quotes. Our first tip is always use apples to apples comparisons. What we're talking about here is make sure that you're using the same dates for both our competitor's site and our site, the same hotel, the same, everything has to be the same room type. This way, when you provide somebody with a quote, it's an accurate quote. We don't want to be, let's say, looking up a luxury suite on somebody else's site and then looking up a regular guest room on our site. That's not going to be a 100% honest depiction for a potential client. We always want to make sure we're giving a true comparison, and by doing that, by providing apples to apples comparisons, by giving exact information, we're looking up the same content here on the Travel Light site as we will on competitor sites. That's the best way to do that. The second tip I have for you is always use public sites for hotel and flight comparisons. And when you're looking up cruises, always use the cruise line site. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually go ahead and do comparisons, which is what, once we get through these, we'll do comparisons for hotels, for one hotel, for one flight, and then we'll go ahead and do one comparison for a cruise. When we're doing cruise comparisons, as it's mentioned here on the screen, you'll see we're always going to be using the cruise line site for that comparison. And once we get to that page, I'll explain to you before we dive in there the logic behind why we do that. And lastly here, always wait until you get to the final booking page in order to accurately quote a competitor's price. So what happens sometimes is that we think, like when I pop in a hotel, I'm seeing the great price on the Travel Light site, and that's a unique feature that you see the whole price right from our search page. But that's not how a lot of our competitors' engines work. So we always have to get to that final booking page in order to make sure that we're accurately quoting a competitor's price. And so by taking these steps with you, kind of showing you each of the, one for a hotel, one for a flight, and one for a cruise, we will kind of see what we're talking about when we say you got to get to that last page. So it's definitely going to be a really good experience here. We'll go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is work on a hotel for you. So let's start there. I'm just going to go ahead and just logged into the portal. When you first log in, the place you land is on the search engine for hotels. So it's our first option here, but also the Travel Light homepage. If I were to click on this, it's just going to refresh, and it's going to get us right to where we already are, which is that page, the hotels. This is your kind of landing page when you first log in. So now that I'm on this page, I'm just going to go ahead and pick a destination here. I have a couple that I've actually had some success with before, so I wanted to kind of use that guidance here. So I'm picking Tampa. You'll see when I just type the first word, the rest comes up here. And what I'm doing is I'm not going to go ahead and continue typing Tampa, Florida on the screen up here. I'm just going to go ahead and select the one that comes up from the drop down. This way I'll know that the way it's written out is accurate and complete, and it's how I should search for it in the Travelite site. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some dates. I'm going to go ahead and say, we're going to go to Florida in June. That sounds like a good time, right? We'll go, I'm just waiting here. I'm going to select here. We'll go from the 18th to the 21st. Just a quick little trip. All right, and we've got it already set. The default for hotels is always to set to 2 adults, so just make sure, 1 room, 2 adults, so just make sure if you got more than that you expect, that you're editing that field, but we're good here. We're just going to look for that. I'm going to go ahead and click on this search button now. And I'm interested in a particular hotel. I'm going to look for the Hilton in downtown Tampa. So let's see if we can't find that information when this list populates. And look, it's right at the top, and it looks like it's also our highest percentage of savings. So you'll see here, just you know, a page we've probably all seen by now. We see you're saving 59%. So I'm going to go ahead and select a room. I'm just going to select this one here. It says double guest room. I'm just going to go ahead and select that here. And we're good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and wait for this to come up. So we're at that last page, and what you'll see is what we saw again, because our site is all about, you know, putting complete and accurate information right up front. The information we saw on the first page is the same as what we see here. So what I see here is that I'm saving $500, and I'm earning 345 reward credits, and I'm paying $344.92. Okay, so I'm going to just pop over here. I have a tab up here. That tab that I see is Expedia. That's what I'm using here for this search. So I'm going to go ahead. I've kind of pre-populated it here because I knew we wanted to do this search. But let me just hit the refresh button because this has been here for a couple minutes. I just want to make sure that we're looking up the page doesn't time out on us. So I'll just click a quick refresh here, and we'll start from the beginning. Okay, so here we go, and it did come up. This is, again, because it's probably the last thing that I saw. So here we go. I see I put in the Hilton Tampa downtown. On this particular site, you can search that way, so I was able to put the hotel name in so I can make sure I get the right one first time. It's already set to 2 adults. That also happens to be their default, and we got our dates in here already because I populated that before. So the dates that show here are June 18th of next year to June 21st, just like the dates we selected in the Travelite portal. So I'm going to go ahead and search that, and we'll see what comes up. And I want to take a quick moment to kind of show you what I was talking about when I said that we have to get to that last page of booking in order to get an accurate quote. And this is a really good opportunity to do that. So we'll see here. Let me just take a look. We've got a listing coming up. I'm just going to wait until it completely loads. All right. And I'm just going to go ahead and select the hotel name. So let's see here. I want to do the Hilton Downtown Tampa. That's what I'm looking for, right? And there we go. I'll go ahead and select that. And it should pull that one right up to the top here. And here it is. Okay. So now you'll see what I meant when I was mentioning the price information. So remember, on our side it showed us $345 right at the start rate. On this side it's showing us $256 in nice bold letters there, which seems like a really good deal, right? I mean, this is a pretty good hotel. You're getting $256, but again, in tiny letters underneath that, that's your average per night. In order to find out what my final cost is going to be, I've got to go ahead and click on this and select a room. And of course, I have to make sure that I'm selecting a room that matches what we have, what we've selected on our Travelite portal. So I'm just waiting for this to load here. It'll give me some options. Just a second, guys. Okay, so here we go. I'm just scrolling down a little bit. And we chose a double room. So let's see if we can't find that in a listing here. There's a few king bed rooms here. Room with one king bed. Room with two double beds. So this is most likely the room that we're talking about because we said it was a double guest room that we had. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to reserve this. You'll notice that the price is different, right? So on that first page it showed us one price, but when we get here to the actual room that we selected on the Travelite site, it's a different price. This room, actually, I just saw it's on an executive floor, so I just didn't see, since I didn't see those details on our site, let's just try and scroll down and see if there's another double guest room. I'm going to scroll back up, and it doesn't look like there's another double guest room, so we'll go ahead and continue with this one because that's the only one that's available that matches our room type. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. The price is different, like we said. And when we get to the final page here, what are we seeing in that trip total? Are we seeing the same amount that we saw on the first page? Nope, we're not. What we're seeing is that the trip total comes up to $954. So it makes perfect sense why our price was saying 59% below, right? So this is where you want to get to. You want to get to this page because, again, just by looking at that first page for the hotel, somebody would have said, oh, well, look, but you were paying $345 through the Travelite portal, and this says it's available for $200 and some odd, right? But when we get to the end, we see that that's definitely not the case. So in order to accurately quote something for somebody, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, look, this matches. This is the exact room type. Look at the total here. And then I'm going to go ahead and compare that to our portal, which says, hey, look, we're saving a total of $844. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the hotel costs, and look at that. The price on the competitor side is even higher, but this is saying that the hotel's price normally is $844, and the member savings brought it down by almost $500. So it's definitely when we get to that page, the payment page, that's when you're actually seeing the full price. So that's the important piece of information that I definitely want to relate to you. This is just an example for a hotel. Our next step here that I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and take us through a cruise, which I know there's been a lot of questions of. So I'm just going to go ahead, click on home, so I can get back to that home page. And we're going to take a step through a cruise here. We're going to take some looks through here. So a couple of details about cruises that I think will be really helpful for you just to kind of know how they work through our portal and how it's different from a competitor site like Expedia or Travelocity. So that's the reason why I'm saying that we should be using the cruise line site. Okay, so when you book a cruise through the Travelite site, it's just the same experience as far as the availability to you. It's the same experience as if you were to book from the actual cruise line site. So what happens is when we actually get to that final page where we're choosing a cabin and we're getting to that final payment page, it's actually holding that cabin spot for us, right? So when you go through the process on a public site, because it's just a public site, it doesn't work the same like the cruise line site. So the best way that we can compare our pricing is going to be by going to the actual cruise line site. First, because we know that anything that's available on our site will most definitely be available on the cruise line site, which is not always the case with Expedia, Travelocity, Orbitz, or whatever other site. But second, because we're going to get a true comparison price that's going to include the kind of the kind of features that the cruise that's available on our site will include. Okay, so I'm going to take you through some steps here. What we'll do is we'll select a particular line, we'll select a particular trip leaving out of a particular port and a specific date. We're going to start on the Travelite site, and again, I will reiterate something I said a couple days ago. Whatever is available on the Travelite site is whatever the cruise line has available. So if you're not seeing a particular ship that's going out on this particular on a particular run, if you're not seeing that availability is for that ship or that particular month for the departure port that you maybe saw a couple of years for the same boat, remember that the cruise lines actually shift. They change the boats, and this is some information that we learned during the process while we were doing quotes in the Ask V team for you guys. But we actually learned that the cruise lines change there. So they may have a boat that, let's say, was previously going out of Miami that is now it's going out of, the Pacific Northwest on a cruise to Alaska. So they move them around. So just because a cruise specific boat or a specific line was available in the past through that cruise line, it doesn't mean that it's available right now. So whatever is on here, and that's what you're going to see, when we go through what's available on our site, we're going to see that it's the same as what's available on the cruise line site. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in here. Let's see here. So I've got a selection. I'm not going to put too much detail in here. The reason I'm not going to do that is because the more details I select, the more likely that I'm not going to really be able to find something. So unless you're absolutely 100% certain of the particular cruise line, or the particular date, boat, all that stuff, it's better for you to just put the date, a particular month and the cruise line that you want. And then this way it'll show you everything that's going out. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and select July. And I want to go ahead and select Norwegian. Okay, so that's the cruise line we want. And you'll notice how everything started changing once we selected things. So what happens is because I'm selecting Norwegian and selecting July, what happens is when I select here, it's going to show me the actual things that are available that fit that fit the information. So it's going to show me only the ports that are leaving from. So because I selected Norwegian, I selected July, and I selected the number of nights, it's showing me the only port that's available for me to leave out of is Miami. And so I think we've got enough information to do a quick search here, but let's go ahead. Let's see if we can't pick something a little more specific. I'm going to go ahead and select Bahamas here. And let's see what comes out. I'm just going to go ahead and click. And you'll notice that this, one thing too that before I dive in, is you'll see how easy this was, right? That we just put some details in, we allowed it to kind of populate the rest of the details, and we just moved right along the process. But you're going to see how when we go to the actual Norwegian site, it's a little bit more cumbersome to get to this information. So I mean, for me as a user, my user experience is even easier on the Travelite site than it is on the actual cruise line site, which is pretty cool that, it's just a better overall experience. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's select this 3-night Bahamas cruise. It's leaving on Friday, July 7th, and the boat is the Norwegian Sky. It's going out of Miami, and it says that it's the prices start at $449. So let's go ahead and select this. You'll notice it gives you the same kind of options again that you would see anywhere else. Okay? So what you're seeing here is you'll see the same options I'd see any other place. So I'm going to go ahead and select actually from this list here. I'm going to select, let's see here, midship inside. That sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and pick this. Now, it always gives you options to upgrade, which you're going to see are also options that come up on the cruise line site. So it's good, again, that it's mirroring the same experience. So people are going to have the same opportunities they would if they were going through the site, through the cruise line site. But I'm going to go ahead and click no thanks. I think we're good to go with this room. Now it's asked me what deck I want to be on. I'm just going to select the first deck that comes up here. We'll select cabin. And what happens now, remember what I said before, what happens now is that this cabin, 0120, it's now off the market. It's actually being held by Travelite. So what you'll see is when we go through the Norwegian site while we're holding on to this one, it's not going to be available. This particular room won't be available. And that's expected. So this is just kind of giving us the lay of the land. Anybody who kind of wants to see that information, I'm going to scroll right back up. See here, a little pop-up, just kind of, again, giving you the full lay of the land so you can see what's available here on the site. It's giving you a little explanation of what's there. And I'm pretty sure that we're all set right here to continue. So that, again, was just, wait a minute, we lost it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select that one, and we'll move right along. It's going to bring me to my final step, which is going to be to select my passengers. I'm just going to select whoever we've got in this listing here. We're not going to spend too much time here. Again, all these travelers are pre-selected at the time that you sign up, because you're putting in your travelers when you first sign up. So you're just putting in that information, and it makes that checkout process super easy. I don't have to now retype in everybody's name. Oh, wait, I didn't put a date of birth in there. There's not one that's saved on file. So I'll just go ahead and select one. I'm just giving somebody a birthday here, just for the sake of checking, but I would suggest you make sure you know somebody's birthday. Always a good step, right? Make sure you know somebody's birthday before you put it on. Okay. So now we're going to go to the final page, and we're going to see the final price. That's kind of what we're looking to get to here, because I want you to see the experience from start to finish. So at the point that we get to that final page, that's when the room starts being held, and it will be held for 10 minutes. And if we do not finalize booking in 10 minutes, it's going to time out, and it'll bring us, and it'll tell us that we have to redo the search. Okay, before I move on, a couple of details here that I want to point out on this page as well. First detail, it's telling me right on the top how many credits I'm going to earn, but that's not all it's telling me. It's also telling me that there's a rebate available. This is a cruise-specific rebate, okay? So I either have, if I go on this trip, I have the option to either earn an additional 10,000 rewards credits, or I can get a check in the mail. And yes, it's a real check, and it's $92.90. That's a rebate that's only available on cruises. So the best deal, as it says here, it outlines, is definitely those rewards credits. Why? Because it counts for a little bit more, and you can actually use them on anything anyway. So you pretty much, between these 10,000 credits and the 1,100 credits that you already got, you basically have enough to go on your next vacation. But let's just scroll down and see what this is. Remember, this is a cruise for 2 people, Norwegian, a 3-day cruise in July of next year. And we have our total. Our total is $1,165.82. And it seems about normal. I mean, it's the average going rate, so it's nothing that we have to worry about as far as details. But I'm going to go ahead and further. We'll take a look deeper into that when we go through the comparison sites. So again, like I said earlier, I'm not using Expedia or Orbitz or any other site to get my deal for the cruise. What I'm doing is I'm going right to the Norwegian cruise line. Now that I know what cruise line I'm going on, it's better for me to do this because I'm going to get to see everything that's available. Because again, what's on Travelite is what's available on the actual site. We can't speak for the other competitors, but what I can tell you is that when our team was doing quoting comparisons and we did attempt to try and find details on Expedia, Travelocity, we found that all the room types, dates, all that kind of information was not always available through the competitor sites. The best place to start is definitely on the cruise line site when it comes to cruise quoting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to click over here on kind of my vacation, click on cruise search. It's a little bit cumbersome, this site. That's why I was telling you that it's definitely like even a more user-friendly experience on our site. It's just a quick couple of clicks away and you get your information. This site is not always that easy to navigate, but I'll do it nonetheless. We know our destination already, right? Because we selected that on the other site. We'll select Bahamas for our destination. We know the dates we're going. We're going on July 7th, so that's what we'll know. Oh, wait, it refreshed. I think it's opening the page for us. Here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and click here. I know that it's going to be in July. So I select July, click update. Just a moment here if you bear with me, guys. Their site, it kind of refreshes a lot, I've noticed. And then not going to worry about the ship. I'm more concerned about the port of departure. We know we're going to Bahamas, and we know that we were leaving from Miami, so we want to select that one. Scroll down. Update. It's automatically set on their site as well to list 2 guests. So we're all set because that's the same number of guests that we selected on our site. And we know now we know the stateroom type even, right? So let's take a look and see. We wanted inside. So I'm just going to click update. Make life a little easier for ourselves. And I'm going to move down at this point. I'm going to go down to the section that has some details about how long the cruise should be. So I'm going to select 1 to 4 nights because the cruise that we selected was a 3-night cruise. So we'll go through this. And I'm going to try and select a room that's as comparable to the room we've already selected. The reason I'm not, again, going to be able to select the exact room is because that room is now on hold with Travelocity. We've got 10 minutes to book before it becomes unavailable again and it's released back to the cruise line site. So here we go. I'm going to wait. Let's see here. We just want to see cruises only. We don't need any of this extra stuff. So I'm just going to unclick that. Not really important to do that piece, but I like to get the exact information since we know already which cruise it is. Okay, I'm going to select the date. So here we go. This is the one, right? This is the one that we looked at, right? It was, nope, here. July. Let me take a look up here. We'll take the rooms out because we were looking at July 7th. Let me go back and take a quick peek so we can confirm the date here. And yes, it indeed said Friday, July 7th. So going back over here, we don't want a 4-day one. We're looking for a 3-day one. Oh, here it is. 3 days, $449. You see their price is the same as our initial price, right? That's again because we access the same information. So I'm going to go ahead, select that inside room. Okay, the number of dates or guests is already again set to 2. We're already set, so we're going to go ahead. Wait a minute. I clicked the wrong one. We got to change the room. We got inside, and we selected midship inside. Did we? Nope, we selected IA. That's the one we selected. So I'm going to go ahead and select the same one because we want it to be, again, comparable to what we've selected. We want that apples to apples comparison. We didn't do any type of upgrading on the Travelite site, so I'm going to click no thanks. We're all set to go now. It's telling me everything here. I just got to go ahead, and it's showing here. You see, this is the closest one to the room we have available is 0121. That's the closest one that we've got available. So I'm going to choose that because it's going to be on the same floor at least, in the same general area as the room that we selected, or the cabin we selected, rather. And we're at our final page here. So this is your summary, okay? This is showing your final price. Final price here, $1,165.82. And back over here, I'm going to scroll down to that final price. It's identical, okay? So this is how we know it's the same information. Now, is it a savings? Maybe you might not think it is because it is the same price, but remember that on the back end, what you're getting is these rewards credits, okay? You're either getting rewards credits or you're getting a check in the mail of $92.90, which is as good as saving that much money on this trip, okay? So just by booking this trip through the portal, yes, it's the same price, but you're doing better because you're going to be able to use those credits towards your next vacation. And 10,000 credits is definitely enough to get you probably 1 or 2 night stay at a hotel once you got back into Miami. So it's definitely something that's worth it. And it's the same thing. So it's not the biggest concern is usually that you're not going to get the same experience, or you're going to end up overpaying when you don't book a cruise through the cruise line site. But as you see here, we're paying the same exact price, and we get these additional rewards credits. So it's a better value for us to book through this site than it is to actually book through the cruise line site. So that's pretty cool. Really great information. As I've mentioned, or we've mentioned a couple of times in the past ones, you can expect to see kind of deep dive information about how cruises work and that kind of thing coming in the future. But this is just kind of like as deep as I wanted to take you today, so you can see that there is still value, even if it's the same price. And we do still have that best price guarantee, so we can absolutely be sure that the price that happened to be available through the cruise line actually was the best deal that was available. Ours, it matches that price and also gives that back-end rebate. If you wanted to know more information about the rebate, I encourage you guys to kind of take these steps on your own and click into the details here to learn more about that rebate. The rebate just basically gets issued to you after your vacation is complete. All right, guys, and there we have it. It's not that difficult. We've got one more thing to cover, so we're not all done just yet. I'm going to close this extra window here that showed us where everything is on the ship. And the last thing we will go through is going to be flights. Okay, so I know in many times that we've mentioned to you guys that there's not a particular savings available or like a guarantee of savings with the flights. That's absolutely true. There's still a possibility you might find a good, you see here what I said? I'll just kind of double back on that. It says the booking expired, so it released that particular hotel, or not hotel, but the particular cabin back to the cruise line site. But with flights, there's not a particular savings. There are some kind of ways around that we can make, and there's always the benefit of the fact that either you're paying the same price with us as you would on any other site, and you're earning rewards credits. So there's kind of a plus there. There is actually the possibility that our flights might to even be a couple bucks higher than the competitor, but there's some ways around that too, and so I definitely wanted to take a quick dive into this, not too long, but we'll take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to go from LaGuardia Airport. We'll pick a date, not this month. Well, let's see here. We've done everything, kind of June, July. Let's keep in the theme here. We'll go in August of next year. Another thing I'll mention too, you're seeing how far into next year we're going. I don't know if you guys have noticed just yet, but a lot of other sites don't let somebody book this far ahead, either for hotels or flights. So there's definitely the possibility that you might be able to for certain things, definitely for cruises, but you can't usually look so far in advance on other sites. Some sites usually have like a 9-month limit. With that in mind, let me go back a little bit because we want to get a comparison, so we have to find something that's available. Let's see here. We got April 11th, and we'll come back on the 13th. It's not going to be a long trip, and we'll go to Dallas Love. Here we go, from LaGuardia. Okay, the flights, as I've mentioned in the past, is just set to go for a person. It's automatically set for one person. If you needed more people, you'd have to go ahead and list that here. But we'll go ahead and take a look here. While this attempts to search here, we will look for that here too. So it's already set here. I'm going to go put in that airport code for LaGuardia and put in that Dallas Love Field airport code. We'll get our dates. Our dates were for April of next year, the 11th through the 13th. So we're just going to go ahead and change that back really quickly. We'll kind of, double team it a little bit here, right? We're get double duty done by searching on both sides at the same time. As you become more proficient and you get used to these sites, you'll find that you can kind of pull up information like that too. And we'll go back and we'll kind of see, this is still pulling up. Let's see if our flights have loaded here. Okay, and our flights absolutely have loaded. Okay, so I see a flight here, 2:21:39. It leaves 6:10 in the morning, gets to Dallas at 9, and the one coming back is 6:30 to 10:40. I'm going to select that one. That was Southwest Airlines. In just a moment, guys, it seems that my screen went out a little bit, so you're probably not seeing anything right now. Let me just get that updated really quickly. I'm sorry about that, guys. It looks like, so the search process is just that simple, just in the event that everybody can still hear me. The search process is really that simple. It's just putting in information. It'll populate, and what you'll most likely find is that the pricing is either for flights is the same, and it might be a little bit more, or it could be a little bit less through our to the Travelite portal. But if you do find pricing that's higher on another portal, then you can always call into the concierge desk, and they can actually book it for you. So this way you still get your rewards points for it. That's definitely a really big benefit. All right. So we're still on here. I see we've still got our group of attendees. I'm sorry about that, guys. And so we're looking for the same flight. I'm going to go pop back over here. My screen went out for a quick minute. I apologize. Oh, wait. Here we go. So did go ahead and check that here. I'm looking for Southwest, which happens to not be available here for some reason. So I'm actually going to go back on the Travelite site. I'll go back one step so we can find something that matches here. And we'll see the flights that were available here. So we see here we've got a Delta flight. So let's take a look for Delta here in this list. I'm looking for Delta. Scrolling down, and it's actually, just a second, guys. Here we go. Now we got our Delta flights, and now they match. We got the 455. It's showing at 381.67 here, and this is the one. We're going to just go ahead. We want that 455 one. Here we go. And it's 375 here, but again, it's not showing the taxes and fees just yet. We'll just select the next available round trip, which, nope, we don't want to book a hotel at the same time. We're just getting our quote. And let's see how our return flight was. Yep, okay, so it matched. Looks like it did. And our trip detail, here we go. That final price we see over here to the right, that's going to be the price we're looking for. It says our trip total is $375.20. And what did we find, right? We found that our pricing was a little bit more, right? Ours was at the $380, but again, it's only off by a couple of bucks. We'll just go ahead and select somebody from the listing here so we can proceed to the checkout so we can confirm that final price. And okay, it looks like it actually was a little bit more than that. Okay, so we got $400.75. But guess what happens now, right? Yes, this price is a little more. I'm getting rewards credits, $382 if I book this flight, or I have the option to go here. I'm going to go up into support. I'm going to grab that number for the concierge team. I'm going to give them a call. I'll let them know, hey, look, we found a cheaper price on Expedia, and I want to book this price. Here we go. Call our support team, and the numbers come right up here. And the reservations here, this is going to be for support. Member services is more for like billing services, and that will, so if you want to go ahead and get a reservation, that's where, or you want to talk to somebody on the concierge team about booking that cheaper flight, this is the number you'll call, that 858 number. And that's what we do. We'll call them and we'll say, hey, I found this flight on Expedia and it's cheaper, and the person on the other line is going to go ahead and search for the flight. They'll book the flight for you, and you'll still be able to get that savings. So that's another plus, too. So, yes, there's a possibility of flights being more expensive, but we always have that option to call concierge and say, hey, can you get me the cheaper deal and make it zero carbon? And as long as it's our concierge team that is booking it for you, we're still going to go out and purchase those carbon offsets, so it's zero carbon travel, and you will still get your rewards points for the dollar amount that you spend. Okay? So it's that simple. Like we said, flights, I think we've stressed it a couple of times, but now you've kind of seen it yourself. There's not really a whole lot of opportunity for savings. You might see it, but you've got the concierge team as a member that's going to help you get the lower price point there. Now we know how to quote, and we know the most important things here, which were the 3 tips we talked about. I'm always using apples-to-apples comparison, same hotel, same flight times and airline, same room type, same cruise line. I'm always using public site for my quote, or the cruise line's site for cruise quotes, and I am always waiting until we get to that final booking page in order to accurately quote a price for a competitor. All right, guys, that's all there is to it. It's really not that tough. If you have questions, concerns, comments, please know that we're always here to help you. We're really happy that we get the opportunity to walk you guys through this for the next several days and kind of get you familiar with the information you're going to need in order to be successful at getting new members signed up and sharing your good karma with everybody. So again, in the coming days, you'll find some more deep dives into cruises and flights and extended stays. So we'll have some deep dive sessions about that, and look forward to hearing from all you guys with your questions, concerns. You can go ahead and shoot them or write over to us, askme@viridian.com, and we are happy to field any questions that do come up. All right, guys, y'all have a great night, and God bless.